Early in the history of humanity, as humans were repopulating the earth after the Great Flood, a number of people settled in the land of Shinar, which is in ancient Mesopotamia. And up until this point in the Bible, the whole world spoke the same language, meaning that there was one common speech for all people. The people of the earth had become kind of skilled in construction, and they decided to build a city with a tower in it that would reach all the way to the heavens. By building the tower, the people in the city wanted to build a tower all the way to God, all the way to the heavens. Of course, we know this story as the Tower of Babel. And they said in this story in Genesis 11:4, "Come, let us build ourselves a city and a tower with its top in the heavens, and let us make a name for ourselves, lest we be dispersed over the face of the whole earth." Genesis tells us that God came to see this city and the tower they were building, and he knew what their real intentions were. And in his infinite wisdom, he knew that this tower to heaven would only lead the people away from God and not towards God in any way. So it would lead them away. The goal of the people was not to glorify God. It was not to lift up his name but to build a name for themselves, essentially making a way to heaven through their own efforts, not through following God's order, but by their own self. Making what they believe is a way outside of God's way. Babel is derived from the root meaning to confuse. God observed that they were trying to get to heaven on their own. As a result, he confused them. He confused their language, causing them to speak many different languages so that they would not understand each other. And by doing this, God thwarted their plans. He also forced the people of the city to scatter all across the face of the earth. One must understand that the Tower of Babel was all about convenience and not obedience to the will of God. The people were doing what seemed best for themselves and not what God had commanded. Their building projects symbolized pride and arrogance of humans who were trying to be equal with God. In seeking to be free from the reliance upon God, the people thought that they could actually reach heaven on their own terms, sort of like they could become righteous on their own terms. You see, without God's order, which is truth, the world has no meaning. It's just babble. Words have no meaning. They are devoid of anything unless they're anchored to God. Without God, words are only given meaning by those in power that provide for them meaning. For example, justice and human rights are only made real in the light of the truth of God, that all people are created in the image of God. If there is no God, then justice and rights are only given meaning by those empowered to say what they subjectively feel they mean. Like, maybe it's just or maybe it's right to destroy those people over there that I don't like. Because they're not made in any image. There is no God. So it's my right. It's just for me to say that. In the same way, when we're dealing with the gender issue, gender is only fluid, which basically means whatever you want to define it as, it's only fluid in the absence of God's order, which is God made male and female only. If you take that order away, then gender means nothing, and it becomes subjectively whatever you want it to mean. Words with no meaning